Welcome back to the channel. I'm Chase and this is All Things Random. Today we are looking at a dive watch that I've been wanting for quite a long time. This is going to be a two-parter. The reason it's a two-parter is because this watch specifically I'm going to fill with oil on the next one, silicone oil to be exact. Now what am I talking about today? Today I'm talking about the 38mm VAER dive watch, specifically the DS4 solar powered version. Now, I have been looking at this watch for quite a while, and specifically because it's solar powered and I think a pretty good deal for what they have to offer. Now, VAER is a watch that's been around for a little while. It's gone around the little YouTube channels for review, but I've never had my hands on one until now. Of course, it has that classic dive watch Submariner look, and of course it has a 120 click unidirectional bezel, a black dial, but for me specifically, I wanted something that I never had to replace the battery on. Now, you heard at the beginning of the video that I'm going to fill this thing with 100% silicone oil. Now, I've done this in the past. I'll leave a link to the video of the Mathy Tissot that I did, and I'll show you right here exactly what it looks like after it's filled with oil. Now, specifically, this is a quartz model Mathy Tissot, and you can see that as I move that domed crystal, the dial is pressed upon the reverse side of that crystal. Now, this gives more like an LED or LCD display, which to me kind of looks awesome. Not only does the silicone oil give it a better display, but underwater you don't have an issue with moving the watch back and forth. Suddenly you get a reflection and you can't see it. This gets rid of all that because that's the air within the watch that is reflecting all the light. We'll do an underwater review later down the road. Now, it also improves water resistance because anybody knows that silicone oil has a viscosity that's a lot thicker than water, which means that if this is a 200-meter dive watch, it can go far beyond 200 meters, and you don't have to worry about any water intrusion inside. Now, the silicone oil does not affect any of the electronics, which is why it's got to be a quartz. It can't be a mechanical because, of course, the viscosity of silicone oil would deregulate, right, the mechanism inside of a mechanical watch, and of course it wouldn't tell time right. It's not the same when it comes to a solar powered or a quartz watch. The solar powered watch means I never have to open up the case back or anything else after I fill it with oil. So now that you know all this, let's go ahead and look at the VAER close up and why I picked this watch. Now, this VAER specifically is 38 millimeters in diameter. It is offered in two different variants, the 38 and the 42. Now, the 42 to me just seemed a little bit big, but after having the 38, I have a 7¼ inch wrist, and maybe the 42 would be a little bit better because this thing wears smaller than its size represents. So the lug to lug on this is going to be 45 millimeters, which is pretty small for a 38 millimeter watch. The case thickness of this is just under 12, and it does have a lug width of 20 millimeters. So we are going to toss a chase strap on this in just a minute. Now, inside of its display box, this thing was far larger than I ever expected, and it offers two different watch straps in it. It does offer a rubber strap that's shown on the watch here, and it also has sort of a canvas strap that comes with it. I prefer the blue herringbone chase strap NATO that you see here. Now, all that being said, the bezel on this is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. This is a proper dive watch with 200 meters of water resistance, and it does have a flat piece of sapphire crystal with air coating on it, so it is definitely tough and durable. The case is going to be 316L stainless steel, and it does have a pretty decent finishing, and the case is more cushion case than it is sharp edges, which is also really good to see. Again, you can see from the side profile, the lugs are pretty short, which of course gives it more of a smaller profile when fitting on the wrist. The case back on this is a screw down case back. It just says VAER across the center with sort of a wave design that's engraved in the back. It's pretty simple. I'm okay with simply doing a solid case back on this one. One of the things that I appreciate that VAER did that other people don't is not use the classic Mercedes hands that you see in other dive watches. It's almost one of those things that dive watches feel like they need to have because of the classic Submariner that everybody knows about. Now, if it's not the Mercedes hands, it's a snowflake hand, but instead they chose the sword hands, which looks really good on this watch, especially with that black backdrop. You have a large triangle at the 12 o'clock position, then rotating either odds to evens, you either have a small square plot or a round plot. Honestly, the lume is pretty good. In low light conditions, it looks pretty great. It's light. It keeps the lume for quite a period of time, so I'm really happy to see how this thing holds up over time. Pretty simple with VAER underneath the 12 and 200 meters, 660 feet just above the 6. There's not a whole lot to be said about this watch. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty simple. The DS4 solar powered movement inside is accurate, plus or minus 20 seconds a month. So it is pretty accurate when it comes to solar powered quartz, especially on the affordable end. Now here you can see the watch on my 7¼ inch wrist. You can see what I mean by the fact that it fits kind of small. Now I like this watch. I like the presentation of this watch. It's not overly bulky. However, I feel like the 38mm, especially with that 45mm lug to lug, just fits kind of small. So on anything over 7¼ inch wrist, I would almost recommend the 42mm because it's gonna fit more like a 40mm watch, if that makes sense. The 38 fits more like a 36. The 42 will fit more like a 40. So if you do have medium-sized wrists, go with the larger one. I was concerned that the larger one would look large, but the smaller one looks small. So to me, that's a no-go. What I'll probably end up doing is after I fill this thing with oil, I'll give it like 6 months to make sure everything's running right, and maybe I'll give it away to one of you guys, a subscriber. So what do you guys think about this quick overview of this watch before I shove it filled with silicone oil? Now, I've, again, done this in the past. I know exactly what I'm doing. Not really concerned. Now, a lot of people are used to the Bell & Rosses that actually have a small bubble within the dial that you can see. Now, the reason why this is done is because under extreme circumstances with pressure, that bubble will kind of dissipate and fill in whatever kind of pressure that's placed under the oil inside, so it makes it so the crystal doesn't pop off. I'm not really worried about any of that. For me, I'm not gonna ever go below probably 100 meters period when diving. I love diving. I'm a scuba diver. I probably won't go below 100 meters ever. So because of that, I'm not really worried about it. I'm going to make sure there's no bubbles in my watch, and really I'm excited to see what comes about. Anyway, if you like videos like this, hit that subscribe button down below, leave a comment of the content you guys would like to see on this channel. At 15,000 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway on the Tissot PRX Powermatic 80, free to one of my subscribers. Also, if you want to pick up this watch, I got it on Amazon. Not affiliated at all. I paid my own hard-earned money for this. I got it on Cyber Monday. Normally it's like 250 bucks. I got it for just under $200 because I think the value of it is pretty high, especially with what I'll be doing with it here in the future. Anyway, hit that notification bell. Some people aren't getting notified when I drop these videos, and I'll see you guys in the next one.